So welcome everyone. We are so happy to have our guest with us today from Kellogg's Black Management Association. We really appreciate you guys. So we have on here our students from our podcast program, digital marketing, journalism, our social media team. So it's pretty much just
social media too.
Yeah, social media, and I'm missing a team. Maybe I'm not. Okay.
Did you say podcast?
Anyway, yeah, I said podcast. So podcast, journalism, digital marketing, social media, and video production. So I want everyone just to set us just so we can get started. I'm going to let Kristen introduce herself.
Yep.
And, but if everyone could kind of put in the chat an emoji that describes how their day went today. Just to kind of set us off. It's okay to feel a range of emotions in a day. I'm so happy. Oh, someone was sick. Hope you feel better. I'm so happy to see some smiley faces.
I'm going to mute us.
A lot was going on for Avery.
Yes. Oh. Thank you for that. Just a little icebreaker to set us into our emotions, and we hope after this you'll have even more smiley faces. I'm not going to rattle on much longer. I'll manage the wait room as we still have some students joining us. If everyone could just make sure they're muted if they're somewhere where there's noise, and just please participate fully. But other than that, Kristen, I'm going to let you take it away.
Awesome. So again, welcome. We are so excited to be sharing our experience.
I was just waving.
Being in an MBA program at Kellogg.
You want me to do this?
And today we'll start off with the agenda. So today we're going to start with introductions. So sharing the team that's on here today, my classmates. We have a quick icebreaker, so some more questions from us. We want this to be interactive like Keyaira shared. So please ask questions throughout. If you have any questions, anything you connect with, let us know. And we'll walk through what is an MBA, what does a degree in business mean, what career paths can you take, why go back to school, and what is fun. And then also kind of talk through community and how you can form affinity groups and different communities, finding different communities at an MBA program like Kellogg or your workplace. And then 5, we'll dive into a day in the life of our BMA, Black Management Association president, Keyaira, who always has a lot going on. So you'll see a very filled day in the life of Keyaira. And then at the end, we'll have time for questions, but would love to hear questions throughout. So if one of the people who are on the team today from Kellogg, if you could monitor the chat and let me know if there's questions, that would be great. Well, cool. So I'll hand it off to Bre to start with introductions.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bre Thomas. I'm originally from Houston, Texas. I went to the University of Notre Dame for my undergrad, and I previously worked at 3M in our consumer products division. And I did sales and e-commerce marketing for fun brands like Post-it notes, painter's tape, and cool air filters. I'm happy to be here and look forward to engaging with all of you today.
Hey everyone, I'm Karley Woods. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. I came to Chicago for undergrad, where I went to Northwestern, studied mechanical engineering. I've done a lot of things since then, but more excitingly, I'll be going to Nike this summer in Portland to work on digital products as a product manager. And I'll leave it at that and pass it to Keyaira.
Hey, family. I am Keyaira. I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so not far from Chicago. I've lived in many different cities but I call the Bay home. That's where I spent most of my time before business school. Most of my career, while I've worked in like educational equity and diversity inclusion, I spent most of my career at Twitter doing brand strategy and cultural strategy work. And I am currently the Black Management Association co-president, as well as a bunch of other stuff at Kellogg that y'all probably don't know, but just know that I take pride in taking on leadership positions and also serving my community. So it's a pleasure to be here with y'all.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kristen. I'm originally from Grand Blanc, Michigan, which is about 10 minutes outside of Flint. For undergrad, I attended Howard University in Washington, D.C. And at Kellogg, I work in Keyaira's team on the Black Management Association under her incredible leadership. And this next year, I'll be working in consulting, staying in Chicago.
And hi, everyone. I'm Vanessa. I grew up in Maryland. I went to Penn for undergrad and I studied business. So I'm like a double business person, which you can do. There's still a lot to be gained. And before this, I worked at Target, which was super fun. And this summer, I also will be at Nike, but with Karley, but in strategy.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So now that you know us, we want to keep this interactive, like we said. So we're going to move into an icebreaker or two icebreakers. And so for our first one, I'd like you to think about the apps that you use in your day-to-day life and look at the four on the screen and decide which one you would choose to not exist anymore, kind of going by their value to you. And so I'll go first. I would say Snapchat has got to go if I have to choose one. And if anyone from the audience wants to come off mute and share or post in the chat which one you think would have to go. Okay, Snapchat, you guys are aligned with me on that one.
TikTok can go.
TikTok? Oh no.
You gotta discuss. You gotta let us know why. Tell us
Yeah, why can TikTok go?
For me, I don't use TikTok, so for me, TikTok would be the one that can go.
Okay.
If I had to like promote work or anything, it would just be Instagram, and I rarely use Snap either. So both of them can pretty much go.
Makes sense. Trinity, I heard you chime in. Which one would you choose?
Definitely TikTok.
Oh
I feel like I would get so much more stuff done if I was not on TikTok.
Oh, so you actually like TikTok, but you just like it's running up too much time on your calendar.
It is.
I see. You're a smart one. I like it.
Yeah, that's smart. Anyone else? One last one. If anyone else,
I saw the
wants to
big
chime
group.
in.
There was somebody who was doing like some heart signs when you said no Snapchat. Yes, you do. I see you, girl. I see you. Anybody on there? I know y'all are in a group, but we want to make sure y'all can get heard if y'all have anything to share.
Okay, cool.
Jada, you say your life has been great ever since you deleted TikTok.
Yeah, like low key, my attention span is really bad. So once I get on there, like I just can't get off. And also, like, there's just so much negativity on that app. I feel like I've wrote about this before, but with that whole like endless scrolling, there's gonna be something that you don't want to see on there at some point. Snapchat, like you just add your friends and you look at what you want to look at and get off. So yeah, I like it.
I agree with you there, Jada.
I am a little surprised that so many people said Snapchat had to go. I am not surprised for the fact that I would also say it, but I thought the youth loved Snapchat. I thought it was
I did
still, like,
too.
thriving.
Yeah, I heard that
in
too.
y'all's generation. It's giving thumb down. Okay, got it.
I mean, I feel kind of for me personally with Snapchat, I mean, it's cool at first, I guess, if you're trying to talk to people, but at that point, just get my number. There's really no reason to be on there as much. I mean, sometimes I'll share my memories and things like that on there, but I really just have it because it saves storage on my phone at the moment. So that's the main reason why I haven't deleted the app yet personally.
All right, that makes sense.
All right, for our next one, our last icebreaker question, I'd like you to think about if you could choose any celebrity in the world to have dinner with, who would it be and what would you talk about? So we'll take 3 people, also put it in the chat if you'd like, but would love to hear what this dinner is going to be like. What are you going to talk about? And Keyaira, I'll have you go first.
Ooh, okay. So
Put you on the
it's
spot.
very tough. You know, I'm gonna go with Drake. I feel like I was gonna choose Michelle, but I feel like I have questions for Drake. He's been acting up lately, and I need to do some research as to like what is going on. I'm here for it, but I'm just curious. And I feel like he's fun. He's just a mystery to me, and I would just love to pick his brain. Like, I feel like something could happen, we could be doing something. I could be in a private jet afterwards, and we could just be roaming the world, doing some Drake stuff. And I don't even know what Drake stuff is.
I would pay money to see that dinner.
Yeah, like I don't even know what that is, but I'm like,
interviewer.
let's vibe.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I see in the chat, Michelle, I love that. Marseille Martin, love her. She's incredible, especially with all that she's creating and her acting. King James, Rihanna, for her business acumen. Someone questioned business. I give Rihanna business acumen.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Anybody want to come off mute and share why they chose who they chose?
Marty, do you want to share why you chose Ava DuVernay?
I just think she's so seems to have all the answers.
Yeah.
Where entertainment is going. So I would just love to tap into her brain.
Amen.
Cool. All right. Anyone else? Oh, Quinta, definitely. Yara Shahidi. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for sharing. Now we'll get into what is an MBA, and I will pass it over to Bre.
Awesome. So what is an MBA? It literally stands for a Master's of Business Administration. And so you're studying business. And so that's why I was in the chat like, oh, you want to talk to Rihanna about business? Because that's what we're doing here at school at Kellogg. And so that's what you're studying. Now, the timing of it is interesting because you graduate high school, you go get your undergraduate degree. I'm sure you heard from everyone, we've already gone to school at some point. Additionally, we've already worked a little bit. You can work from anywhere from 2 to 4 years, and we've all had different careers. And then you're going back to school. So you're actively choosing to go back to school and again, to study business. And it could look like different types of business. But the timing is after undergrad and after you've worked a little bit. The requirements for the degree itself is kind of what I just mentioned. You have a 4-year undergraduate degree, you have some work experience. Usually there is some leadership experience, whether it's in work or extracurricular. Sometimes that could be community service, or just leading special projects at work. And usually there's a test score. It depends on the school. So you might have to do something similar to like a SAT, but just for a different type of school. The cool thing about an MBA is that you could study anything in undergrad and you could have did any type of work experience. So for example, you heard Karley talk about she studied engineering. I personally was a political science major. I was in sales pre-business school. Keyaira did strategy a little bit at Twitter. So it's pretty much a degree for anyone and everyone. You just have to be focused on wanting to go learn about business and develop your career. So, any questions about what an MBA is? We have more things to come, but any questions up front? Yay, I did my job.
Okay, cool. All right.
So as you can see, our girl Rihanna making an appearance. So glad you guys want to meet with her. So what career paths can you take with an MBA? So the three big buckets are often marketing, strategy, and finance. And so if we're thinking through the lens of, okay, let's say you work for Fenty Beauty, so which is a business, what would you do in each role? So for example, if you were in marketing, something you may do is decide which consumer segments to target for each product and what type of media would they respond best to. So saying like, who should we target for this new red lipstick that we're going to launch? And like, should we have a lot of ads on like Twitter, or are they more TV watchers? And so the titles would be things like a brand manager or a media manager. So for strategy, that would be doing a project like deciding when it's time for Fenty to come out with a new product launch and what type of product should be. And so the titles could be things like corporate strategy or strategic planning. And you may have heard that some of our speakers did something called consulting before. And that's when there's usually a big firm that comes in and helps other smaller companies. So if Fenty Beauty was like, you know what, we don't know the answer to a hard problem we have, they could hire an outside firm who would come and help solve them. And then for finance, they would work on things like deciding how to price different Fenty products and looking at this trends in sales data to see if the company is performing well or if the company is not performing well. And so a title in that position could be a finance manager, but there's also positions called venture capital, which is what Rihanna probably had to do in the very beginning to see who could give her money to get her business off the ground. So are there any questions about any of these roles or career paths you can take with an MBA? Nope. Okay, moving on.
All right, so I'm back again. So why go back to school? I mentioned, so most of us were already working, you know, we were already making money. Why would we choose to stop doing that, pick up our lives, and quite frankly, for us, go to school full time, which meant that we were no longer working? So two of the big reasons are changing your career. One is to career acceleration. So what that means is typically you're on a path, you're doing something that you probably already enjoy. So this is not necessarily my case, but let's say I was working in strategy before. I love strategy. I want to stay in strategy, but I want to get to a higher level faster. Like I want to accelerate my career faster. I don't want to wait 10 years before I become chief strategy officer. I want to do it in 2 years. So I'm going to take time off from work. I'm going to go get my MBA so that I can learn more and get the credentials that I need. So when I go back to work, people know that I have the experience, I have the knowledge. So when I come back, I can get that next job way faster. So career acceleration is a very popular reason that people get their MBA. Another popular reason is career pivot, meaning after undergrad, you started out in a career and you don't like it. You don't want to do that no more. And you're like, what do I do? Okay, I have an idea. One thing that's popular these days is like a lot of what you mentioned, like a lot of the celebrities you all mentioned are in media and entertainment, which quite frankly is a newer industry and it's very popular right now. So a lot of people want to pivot their career into media and entertainment. So that could be working for Netflix, working for, I think YouTube would kind of count for that. It's a little tech as well. But say for me, I was like, I did sales at first, but now I want to go work for Netflix. I'm using school as a way that I can learn about different media, entertainment businesses and how to, market myself for those jobs and those companies so that I could do a great job there and get a job there. So that would be a career pivot, pivoting from sales to media, entertainment. Another big one is networking. We're all family here. I know this is being recorded, but the cool thing about business school is a lot of the top C-suite, so the CEOs and all of the people who run a lot of the corporations in America and across the world, a lot of them go to business school at some point. And so you have a unique opportunity to meet and greet with them over the 1 to 2 years that you were in school. So a great way to meet these people who are going to be the future business leaders is to network with them while you're in school. So that's like me, before I came to school, I had never met Kristen. Kristen can go be the CEO of, girl, where you want to work? Somewhere great, somewhere awesome.
I'll be the CEO of Ford.
Afford. Okay. So I can say, oh, I met Kristen when I was in business school. And if I ever need a job, I can just call her up. You know, she's a part of my network. I can count on her in the future if I need something professionally. She's also my friend, so I would hope that she would help me out. So
I got you.
another,
I got you.
you got me? Thank you, friend. Okay. So another good reason is to take a break. Oh, she's definitely gonna be the CEO for it. I saw in the chat. Okay. Another thing is to take a break. This might be a hot take, but working is work. And so going back to school is a great way to pause, to reevaluate where you are in life, whether or not you're on the right path. And it gives you time to, you know, figure it out while also learning and, quite frankly, still bettering your career and your chances of a great career. And I think one of the most important reasons is to increase your income. At the end of the day, you're investing in yourself and your career opportunity to make more money. Okay, I came to school personally so that I could build generational wealth and outcomes for my future family. And at Kellogg specifically, the median base salary after you receive your MBA is $165,000. I wasn't making that before I got here. So I'm happy to report that I'll be making more than that when I leave. So the return on my investment is there. Okay, we had to secure the bag. So my little break turned into a great investment. And that is the case for a lot of people. So that's your why.
Bre, real quick, do you want to talk about internship just real quick in the context of career pivots?
Oh, yes. So MBA programs vary as far as a timing. You can do a 1-year program, a 2-year program, and you choose different lengths of programs for different reasons. But most of us here on the call are in 2-year programs. And so when you're career pivoting, you may not know exactly what you want to do and if it is the right fit for you. So in that example I used earlier, I wanted to go from sales to media and entertainment, but I want to try it out first to make sure that's correct. So in between your first and second year, you get to do an internship similar to what you have probably heard even now in high school or even in undergrad. You get to intern for about 10 to 12 weeks. You get to work at a company. Usually they pay you, okay? So you're still paid. You could basically test out the career that you may be doing full time after you graduate. And for most people, it works out fine. They're able to go back full time. And then for a lot of people, they're like, you know what? I thought that's what I wanted. I do not want that. Let me go back to the drawing board and figure it out again. So business school is really a great opportunity for you to really sample things and figure out if that's what you want to do long term. So really a great opportunity if you're really not sure. But again, this is after undergrad and after you worked for a couple years or a few years already. So it's another chance to figure it out after you've already gotten some of that experience.
Thank you,
Anything to
Bre.
add, y'all? I know that's a lot.
I think you covered it really well.
Okay.
Yeah, internships are amazing, especially when they tell you what you don't want to do, because it's like, okay, now I know that I don't have to commit full time to that. So I appreciate you walking through that. So I got the fun part. So I got the icebreakers, and now I get to tell you what's fun about an MBA. And so I picked out 3 things here. 1, it's taking interesting classes, which I'll talk about more. 2, it's opportunities to travel. So MBAs do a lot of traveling. And 3, it's making new friends. And so starting off with interesting classes, I first want to ask everyone who's here, who has a job right now? If you could put in the chat or raise your hand if you have a job. Awesome. Avery, you have a job at TrueStar. Trinity has a job. Awesome. So Brian, awesome. So a lot of you have jobs. Awesome. All of you have jobs. Cool, cool. So my next question is, when you got that job, I know you were really excited about having the offer. Did you negotiate the pay for that job? So put yes or no in the chat, or you can come off mute.
Sierra was shaking her head no.
No. Okay. I assume that was the case, and that was my case as well. And it's not something that's really comfortable for most people to negotiate, because it almost feels like you should be happy that you got that job. But negotiating is an important part of making sure that specifically as Black people, we have pay equity, because people are negotiating their salaries, and that means that sometimes they're paid more than us, outside of all the other reasons why there are inequalities there. But I really enjoyed this class because this professor walked through how to negotiate a salary, how to negotiate a mortgage when you're buying a house, how to negotiate a lease on your car, just really usable and great tools to use in everyday life as well as professionally, which I thought was amazing. And so that was a class that I thought I was excited to go to every day. I showed up early, I talked to the professor, it was really cool. And then the second class I wanted to highlight here is advertising strategy, which I know that you all are all interested in media. And this class was really cool because we were looking at how these advertisements come together, whether it's a commercial or an advertisement that you see on Facebook, and building out the format for what they're looking to accomplish, kind of what Bre was talking about, or Vanessa was talking about, on who is the customer that they're looking to sell to and what would they be interested in seeing in an ad. And so I put the Old Spice commercial here because that was one of the case studies that we looked at, which means it was a paper that they gave us to read about something that happened within the Old Spice business. And one thing that they found in the Old Spice case, which if you don't know what Old Spice is, it's like a their biggest product is like deodorant for men. And also they have body wash and different things like that. But they use this guy on their commercial because they found that women make 80% of decisions for all purchases. And so even though it was a male product for male deodorant or male body wash, women have such an impact in the buying decisions that they needed to create the commercial actually for women. And it ended up raising their sales. So women, we are so powerful, and more companies need to be marketing to us, even if their product is typically sold to men. So I thought that that was really cool. All right. And there's nothing better than traveling with new friends, honestly. And so I wanted to highlight some of the traveling experiences that I've had. Everyone on this call has traveled everywhere, so this doesn't even touch the surface. Everyone probably travels a little bit more than me, but there's a lot of opportunities to travel at Kellogg. One opportunity is the first trip that you take when you join, and it's called Quest. And a lot of different MBA programs do it, but Kellogg's is really unique in that you can't talk about your career before Kellogg. You can't tell us where you're from. You can't tell us much about your background, and it forces you to have real conversations about the person and not just their resume. And it really forges really strong relationships. So this picture right here in the corner with France, that was my Quest group that I led this past summer. So we were in Marseille and Nice, and this picture was taken in Monte Carlo. So we were acting incredibly bougie. And then we also have Yacht Week, which is a Kellogg tradition. And we have Black Yacht Week, which is really cool. And that happens in Turkey every year. And so this is a picture from this past summer. We have people from different programs. So the University of Chicago attended heavily. We had MBA students from Howard. So I had that connection, which was really cool. And just a time to have a really good time and connect with different MBAs from all over the country. And before Yacht Week, I got to travel through Greece with some friends that I met from Kellogg, which was really cool. And then during spring break, we took a trip to Colombia, which was awesome, and got to eat our hearts out. I think Colombia is the best food trip I've ever had in my entire life. So that's a little bit about travel. Are there any questions so far? Yeah, Karley, I agree. It is a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun, definitely.
So do you guys travel like like during each one, or like do you travel like all at once?
So yeah, do you mean like in terms of timing? Like are
Yeah,
all these
like,
trips all at once?
Yeah, like do y'all travel one place or at Quest or Yacht Week for this place and then spring break for this place, or is it like all at once?
Yeah, it's at different times of the year. So Quest is at the very beginning of the year. Spring break is in March timeframe. So it's a nice break between our quarter system. So you get a break from class and then you get to take a trip. And then Yacht Week, which was at the end of the year during the summer, at the end of the summer, that was in like I'd say June or July. Karley, I know you're on the committee. When is Yacht Week?
Yacht Week is in September.
Oh, wow. September. Thank you. Thank you.
Some of our peers, not me, but some of them also just be traveling whenever and wherever and however. So Bre mentioned, some people take a break, and some people, not me, but some other people call it the adult recess. So there are many perks to business school, but I don't think we want to downplay how much fun business school is. And there's another thing that I think is interesting about business school is that it's a general management degree. So you're going to get a deep understanding of strategy, finance, marketing, microeconomics. You'll get a general understanding, but you're not necessarily going to get a degree that is a deep, understanding of one subject. You become very knowledgeable about business in general. And so because of that, I do think it allows students to have a little bit more fun in their programs versus like other advanced degree master's programs. You really have to like showcase your expertise in a way that if you don't have it, it may, challenge your ability to secure that degree. So just wanted to, throw that out there.
Thank you. Cool. And also, I think one of the biggest parts of Kellogg for me, and the most fun part, has been making new friends. And so here you'll see I joined like a little volleyball league that we play indoor and beach volleyball, which is fun. This is my Quest group from my first year when I wasn't leading, but just attending, which was really cool. We went to the Hamptons. And then I love hosting at my apartment. So we had like a vision boarding brunch, which was cool with all the Black women. And so we try to have events to bring our Black community together, but also there's so many opportunities to make new friends outside of just BMA, which is really cool, and have found ways to connect with people from areas of the country that I've never met anyone from, areas of the world that I had never met anyone from, and now I'm really close with them, which is awesome. And so I would say making new friends that all value business at the same degree as you and are moving in a similar path can be really helpful for asking for advice, personally and professionally. And so I'm really thankful for all of my friends, which are on the call too. So I'm thankful for you all. Cool. Now I'll pass it off to you, Karley.
All right. So next we're going to talk about affinity groups and finding community. To Kristen's point, there are so many opportunities to meet tons of different people, different kinds of people in undergrad and at business school, but it is really crucial to be able to find like-minded people or people who share your identity, just to build a sense of community and kind of support you and help you through things when things can get rough. Some of the ways to do that, which I'm sure you all have these at your high schools as well, but they're also present in college and also at business school, are clubs and extracurricular activities. So that could look like sports, student government, professional associations, so like Society of Women Engineers or Society of Mechanical Engineers, and also sororities and fraternities. That could also look like identity-based groups, so affinity groups like a Black student union or a group for LGBTQ plus individuals, or even first-generation college students. And like I mentioned, going to college or business school can be a life-changing experience. So it's really nice to just have people that you can, not be on with, or who you don't have to explain all of the nuances of your life to. They just kind of get it because you all have similar lived experiences. These groups can really help with that. Avery, I see you raising your hand. Do you have a question?
Yes, I had a question. I'm sorry. I didn't know whether or not to raise my hand or not. The last thing I wanted to do was interrupt you.
No, you're all good.
Yes, but you explained some of the different benefits, the advantages of being able to join this program. And I would say, as a lot of us are youth kind of looking into next steps, I know sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming for some. So I think a question that I had is what would you say are some ways that Kellogg and Northwestern University as a whole helps aid students with matriculation and exploring the business realm from a completely new lens than what we may be initially used to?
Yeah, so like in terms of like how does Kellogg help you transition into new career paths? Is that kind of what you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah, so I do think, like to Keyaira's point before, it's an MBA at least is a very general degree. So it does cover the business foundation. So you're taking those core classes like marketing, like finance, like strategy, all at like the 101 level. So you just learn the very basic skills, regardless of if you didn't use numbers in your past career or you did, or, regardless of what you did, you kind of have to show some level of proficiency at these fundamental levels. And then once you master those and pass those classes, you can choose your electives. So you can kind of like hone in on something. Like if you really enjoy finance, a lot of MBA programs have majors, which aren't super official, like you'll see in college or university, but you can kind of tailor the curriculum to a subject you like, to kind of get a deep dive there. And I'd say through those classes and also through your summer internship and then through clubs and extracurriculars, kind of to this slide's point, you can learn even more about a specific topic that you are trying to pivot into. Does that kind of answer your question?
That does really help answer my question. I think one thing that I also, and I feel like this is also kind of a personal thing, because I often looking, even though I'm only a freshman in high school, I feel like I often look when looking in different places, kind of ways that they help with that transition. Would you say that there's any, I guess I'm trying to find the proper wording. Would you say that there's any specific recommendations that you have for maybe incoming students that may be new to this, may have no idea what this is at all? Any ways that you feel Northwestern may help aid with that transition from going to high school to now exploring this new business realm that they may end up spending only a few months in or the rest of their life in?
Yeah, absolutely. So one organization that comes to mind is called MLT. It stands for Management Leadership of Tomorrow, I think. I don't know, MLT. A lot of us on this call are part of MLT or have been in the past. It's an organization that really dedicates itself to promoting and advancing people of color in the world of business and just in their career paths. So they have a variety of programming, starting in undergrad. I think they have some programs. There are programs for students in college, people looking to get into business school, people in business school, and then higher level executives and people who have been in their career for a little bit longer. But essentially the program, regardless of what stage you're at, kind of gives you a coach that coaches you through whatever life transition you're kind of in at that point. So If you are in it in college, it can help you get an internship in college or just help you explore the landscape of what's even out there in the first place. Similarly, a lot of us were in MLT to help us get into business school and just strengthen our applications that way. So that's one program that comes to mind. There are honestly quite a few of them. Some of them are national at the national level. Some are, I'm sure there are some Chicago specific programs. And we would be, I think Bre just put a link in the chat. But yeah, those programs are really good for just kind of figuring out what's out there, what might spark your interest, and also providing some tangible support to help you get into those spaces that you might be interested in.
Okay,
And that's across schools. That's not specific to Northwestern. You could go to any college, any MBA program.
okay, that's so helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great questions.
Do you mind if I just add a tidbit too?
Go for it.
Yeah. So like business school may not be in your next like 5 years, and quite frankly, maybe not in your next 8 years. So it can be very daunting to think about the trajectory of that. But I will say, like, no matter what you do, and this is just the society we live in, I would implore you to start thinking about the business aspect of it all. I didn't think about business at all. I graduated undergrad and I was like, oh, I need a job. And I landed in business because I needed a job. And then I ended up where I am now. It's never something I thought about. But everything you do, from going to the grocery store to buying gas at the gas station to literally shopping at the mall, there's a business side of it all. How does the food get there? How do the clothes get there? Why is gas being priced that much? When we think about today's society, it's like inflation, what does that mean? I'd say start to get a little bit curious about why things are the way they are and what that looks like, because then you'll start to realize businesses surrounding us, and that may excite you, and you might gain more curiosity about it, and you might decide that business is for you, or you might decide, I don't want nothing to do with that, put me somewhere else so I don't have to touch it. So I'd say just get curious about things. I see we might have a question. Jada?
Hi. Yeah, okay. So I just did programming at my school recently, and I'm not really a big believer in taking APs, but I do kind of want to start looking into business as a major for when I start applying to colleges. My one thing though is I'm not really a firm believer in APs because I feel like most colleges don't accept that credit. So I guess my question for you is, would you, like, when you were in high school, did you take those classes like AP, or did you take it honors, or like did you have to retake them once you got into your undergrad program?
I personally took AP, and it depends on your undergrad school. My school took some they did not take. It's going to be very dependent on the school you go to. How about, I would say hot take, some high schools start letting you take college credits. You need to do that because that's what's going to save you money. If I could go back, I would have done that. But maybe other people can speak to APs or IBs, and I know there's so many different ones now.
I can jump in. So for me, I would think about AP classes are not necessarily being a substitute for college classes and more just being an introduction to the subject. So for example, I took AP calculus when I was in college, and I mean, no, not in college, in high school, but I took calculus again in college. And even though it didn't transfer over, it was very helpful versus my other peers who hadn't taken it. Like, since when you're doing a class a second time, especially sometimes it's harder in college, like just having that exposure to college level classes can help you with the transition. Because I know like freshman year, like the jump from senior year of high school to college, freshman year of college can be like a big transition in the workload. So I think AP classes can kind of get you more used to doing that type of work.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions before we move on? I can't see hands, so let me know if anyone else can see anything.
Sierra, do you have a question?
I did. I actually have two questions if that's okay with you.
Go for it. That's why we're here.
So the first question that I have for you, so being a college student, because I'm a senior in college at the moment for my undergrad, a thing that I struggle with is time management. It just feels like it's never enough hours in a day. So my question is, how do you effectively manage your time while also like doing the things that need to be done and also doing the things that you want to do at the same time? That was my first question. I'll let you answer that, then I'll ask my other one.
I can answer that one. So I went to Howard, which was a big party school that I found out. And so I quickly realized that in order for me to have a great experience, I could not just be heads down in a book. I needed to figure out how to balance academics, social, leadership opportunities, and all of that. And I knew that when I went to Howard, my parents told me I would have to come back if my academics weren't on point. And so I figured out what were the classes that I needed to attend to get a good grade, what were the areas that I really cared about learning the most in. So like, what classes did you really need? If attendance is a part of your grade, I needed to be in that class. I attended all the classes because I knew how extensive they were, but figuring out what that priority is for you, like, is it to learn in one class and just get by in another class? Like, for example, I took accounting and that was not the career path I was going to go towards. I told the professor, I was like, I am not going to be an accountant. I promise you, that is not what I will be doing. And so in that class, I spent less time than in like my strategy class in undergrad, preparing for tests and things like that. Cause I'm like, okay, I know that I can get a good grade in this class and it's not necessarily my priority. And then I would spend more time out of what I would spend on that class towards going to a party or going to a friend's apartment to hang out and things like that. So I think it's like figuring out what your top priorities are for, is it grades? Is it learning? Is it socializing, and figuring out what that mix is? And I also thought it was helpful for me to keep like a really good calendar. And I'm someone who has a busy calendar now because I actually put in time to do my homework. So like it'll come up on my phone when I'm supposed to be getting my homework done or something's going to be due. And so doing that work up front has been helpful for me too. Does anyone else have any comments on that? I know that definitely comes into play for grad school too. So it's definitely a tool that is valuable.
I'll just add a quote that I started to live by when I was doing the most in college and got burned out was, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So that really taught me how to figure out what my values are, and to Kristen's point, my priorities, and put those first, as opposed to trying to do everything under the sun, because it's just not realistic. And one of your values should also be rest and taking care of yourself.
Right.
Because you can't do anything if you're not taken care of.
Right. Sierra, you said you had another question?
Yeah, my second question for you all is, what's the most valuable thing that business school has taught you so far?
I think for me, it's been on being intentional about my life and my next steps. I think prior to Kellogg, it was about, honestly, it was about money, and it was about like socially how it would make me look and my family look. And I think Kellogg has allowed me to take time to reflect on what I enjoyed about working, what I enjoyed about like extracurriculars that I did in college and while I was working, to figure out what I want my life to look like in the future and how I can make it happen. And so I think that that's also one of the valuable parts of having all of this flexible time, is you also have time to like dream about what the future will be, making yourself happy and living in your purpose.
Kristen, in the interest of time, do we want to fast forward to Keyaira's day in a life? Because I think that's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah, let's switch over to you, Keyaira. Thank you, Karley.
I'm sorry, can we answer one more question?
Yeah,
I think Jade had a question.
okay.
Hello, sorry. I'm
No worries.
currently preparing for a meeting right now. But my name is Jay Blanchard. I'm a junior marketing major at Howard University from Chicago,
Woo!
Illinois. Yes. And this past summer I had a job with the Milwaukee Bucks working in their brand marketing. So like I know marketing is definitely something that I want to do. And like I saw you all slide a couple slides ago like about brand marketing. I was like, yes, that's perfect. That's what I want to do. But my question was more so, what do you feel like is, for me personally, like I would love to, work with like Kellogg as one of the companies, but also another like industry that I do want to tap into is like the fashion industry as well. With TrueStar, like I do a lot of different like fashion content, so that's something I'm interested in. But I would say like, what other types of experiences are you all looking for outside of those like internships and things of that sort that can make you like stand out a little bit more in these like spaces and things of that sort?
Is this question coming from the Kellogg like admissions perspective or personally us? I just want to understand the context.
I would say definitely with Kellogg. But then like if you all are able to provide like some other personal experiences, that would be beneficial as well. But my first like standpoint would be with Kellogg.
Gotcha. I can answer your question in my day in the life because I think the day in the life will kind of show you my involvement, and that behavior is something that they're looking for in admissions. And I can just like sprinkle in a few other things. That's a fair way to answer your question?
Yes, that's perfect.
My
Thank
life,
you.
give you some insight from my life. Okay, cool.
Thank
You can go ahead and hit the next slide. All right. So this is a very active day. I wouldn't say that every day is like this, but I wanted to give you a day that could showcase how a business school student can do personal stuff, learn, connect with peers, do something for their like entrepreneurial venture, and then be outside and have fun. So I wanted to give you a day where I did all of those things. Started my morning a few weeks ago working out. I think it's important to think about how important your body is and not letting the stress of what you have going on take away from how you take care of your temple. Something that I learned from this, like, I don't even know, I didn't even plan to tell you the story, but like there was like this 50-year-old man who I thought was like 28. Like he looked incredible. And he reminded me that this is the one thing that you will stay with you your entire life is your body. And so really thinking about how you take care of that body, it will stay with you. The same muscles, joints, skin will be with you. And so thinking about how you start your day with whatever you can do to honor your body and your mind and your spirit is something that I deeply want to just underscore, because business school, while we've mentioned how fun it is, it can be a lot. And, your girl has been through various situations where I did not feel confident when I was in a class and I was like, what is this professor talking about? Having that right moment to get you centered is very important for business school and just in life general. So I got my little calories, I was on the treadmill, give me a little workout. And then after that, I headed to school. I wanted to provide this video in particular because I don't walk to school. It's a problem. It's like a 35-minute walk, and
Keyaira is an Uber queen.
Uber queen. But I also like this video too, because like as I walk into school from my Uber, somebody was complimenting me on my outfit. I like to enjoy dressing up and looking good. I think it is a part of like the brand that I am building. And so you see him like, hey, I take pride in being able to kind of show up and stand out And that's very much like a big part of who I am. And so I started this call talking about like the most important thing you can do is to be yourself. I will always be myself. And it also shows up in how I dress, how I speak, how I wear my hair. And so that's just a little moment of me being fabulous walking into Kellogg. I then am heading to my marketing class here. As you can see, I have my iPad. I'm taking notes with the slides. So the professors oftentimes give you slides so that you can like take notes on. And that's how I essentially study for midterms and finals. There's about 75 folks in the classroom. Some folks have experience in marketing, some folks don't. But in general, you know, this is what like a typical class will look like. And yeah, our classes, you can have like the 2 classes, which are like an hour or 90 minutes per session. And then there are some classes that are 1 session per week, which is 3 hours. I prefer the 3-hour ones because I mean, I don't have to come to class or at least campus twice. So you can have some strategy with how you build your calendar. I then have lunch after class. This is a 10:30 class. So this is like my lunch break. This is some Ethiopian food that I brought with me. I love Ethiopian food, and Evanston has some pretty good restaurants here. So I ate, you don't see me eating, but you just know what I had. And then here you can see I'm actually studying with one of my friends here. This is Braylon. He's also a part of BMA. And we're doing some work around ethnographic insights. It's a class that we have together. And so we just came together to kind of like work. Kellogg has a bunch of like working rooms, which I love. Like, so if you're a whiteboard person, if you're someone who needs to kind of workshop some things, there's plenty of opportunities for you to whiteboard and to kind of dive in deep into your studies or just whatever you're working on. So we had a study session. We kind of got in deep. It was actually really a great session. And then I had a little bit of a break, but towards the later evening, someone asked about entrepreneurship. So I am a part of Kellogg's premier entrepreneurship program. It's called the Zell Fellows Program. It is a program that is across 3 different schools in Israel, Michigan, and at Kellogg. We are the only program in the entrepreneurship ecosystem that is of MBAs. And this program essentially supports entrepreneurs who are very serious about a business venture throughout the entire year of their second year. And they provide you with $15,000. They provide you with a wealth of resources, tools, connections. In addition to the money, you get access to lawyers for free, accountants for free, marketing designers for free, trips. So I was in Israel this spring break for free. You hear the for free. Israel, and then they also took us to Mexico City as well. And a lot of the work that we do when we travel is to understand emerging markets, as well as being able to kind of connect with entrepreneurial ecosystems in different countries. My business in particular is a psychedelic media business, and I am looking for media folks. So I actually wanted to just like plug that I actually am looking for folks who do content curation. I'm thinking about launching a podcast. I know there's the podcast team, there's the media team. I'm actually looking to onboard some folks who can kind of help build out the business, but we are focusing on Black and Brown audiences to help bring psychedelic healing to Black and Brown folks, because if you don't know, psychedelics is a budding industry that is being studied with the FDA and in clinical trials to be really effective at healing anxiety, depression, and various different mental illnesses. There's a lot of stigma when we talk about psychedelics. However, what we do is actually showcase the history behind plant medicine psychedelics and how Black and Brown folks have actually been the ones who were using plant medicine psychedelics in their spiritual healing and ancestral ceremonies to, heal themselves, and how, the West, colonization, all the systemic oppression things have removed us from those cultural practices. And so what we do is to kind of help Black and Brown folks reclaim their cultural birthrights and get the healing that they deserve. If that is of something of interest to you and you want to learn more, I'm literally pitching my business and I am looking to hire. So if you want to work with me, I think we'll try to find a way to exchange our contact information. Like, I'm literally looking to hire and I'm serious. So you better reach out. And we can kind of talk about how you can help me bring this vision to life. But I'll transition on to the last one. Then there was this party. Tuesdays are the Fridays of Kellogg. So we don't have class on Wednesdays. And so there's always some sort of club. And I know that Karley mentioned, like, we have these extracurricular communities where a lot of clubs are organizing some type of like function. So this one here was led by HMA, Hispanic Management Association, and KLATAM, which are the international students from Latin America, putting on an event that was celebrating like Latin culture and music on a boat. And so me and my friends went to this party on a Tuesday night, and I'm telling you, Tuesday is Friday. Wednesday, people be suffering. Not me, but they do. And so we went out, we had a great time. This is me and my friends out enjoying ourselves. And so this is a wide variety of, and I don't think I told the context of this. So the Spice and Sage image here is us kind of like talking about our businesses with funders and investors and really trying to pitch our businesses to secure some funding. I didn't talk about what that was, but we often have entrepreneurial programs and programming that really pushes us to grow and amplify our businesses. So that is a day in the life. Again, this is very much involved. There are some days that are a lot more relaxed. Some days I don't have any school or classes at all, but just to give you a wealth of understanding. So the question that asks, like, what can you do? What are you looking for? I deeply think being involved in things that you care about. I deeply believe in, if you were looking to apply to Kellogg and you're thinking about how to stand out, it's to speak your truth. I'm saying things that consistently, being honest about who you are, what you care about, telling your story as authentically as you can, and being able to show how you are, expanding your opportunities in areas that you look to want to grow, like a career or deeper skill sets in, or something that you care about, So if you're involved in community service, if you're involved and you're working and you're doing incredible things at your job, if you are taking care of your family, if you're the breadwinner in your family, all of those things matter. I also want to say that I had a very below average GMAT score. I think Bre was talking about the test that we have to take for business school. There is a test similar like to the SATs and the ACTs. However, your girl was below average. And yet I spoke my truth. I came with an authentic story that really showcased who I am. And I was able to get into not only Kellogg, but I got into Berkeley as well. And so I just wanted to kind of bring all that to say that you are worthy, you are capable. Whatever you have experienced doesn't mean that like your past can shape, what your future is. You have the ability to change, your circumstances, and hopefully be able to pursue a career or a industry that you maybe didn't think you could, but you can. And so we are here to support y'all. Okay, we are resources for y'all. We will share emails, we'll share LinkedIn's. Like, you all should connect with us. That's actually something we want to kind of empower you all. If you're not reaching out to people that are doing things that you want to do, I want to encourage you to really push yourself out there and to reach out and to connect and ask questions, as you all are doing so great this time. So I'll get off my soapbox. I enjoy kind of inspiring the youths. And I hope that you all take value from our session. So we're actually over time, but I think if folks have some more questions, I don't have anything on my calendar, and I'm happy to stay and just, and we can get real. If you have any questions that you're maybe afraid to ask, we can get into
please ask.
You're welcome to ask whatever you need, whatever you like. Our job is to empower you with the knowledge and experiences that we've experienced so we can pass on to you.
Thank you, Keyaira. We had 2 questions in the chat. The first one was, because this is from our podcast students, how can they bring talent with podcasting to Kellogg? That's the first question.
Amen. So that's exactly the type of, if you're passionate about something, I think if you can break down how you've invested time, have you committed to elevating your skills, how you've been able to create content that really resonates and matters to a certain type of community. I think it really is thinking about how you can articulate what that podcast means, what it represents, how much work it was put into it, the impact of the podcast, what it did for you personally. Sometimes I think that people think that they have to tell some like crazy story that needs to be the most exceptional thing in the world, and the numbers are crazy, but really it's just speaking about you and your journey and your experience and why that's important and why that matters. Storytelling, and I think you all know that, you all are in the media space, but storytelling is one of the most powerful things that we have on this earth. If you can tell your story in a way that is captivating, honestly, I told y'all I didn't have a good score, okay? And your girl got it, okay? So I think anything that you're doing, if you were able to articulate the importance and why it matters and what it has done, not only to you, but those who are a part of it or who've listened to it, then you can really do a lot.
Thank you, Keyaira. And another question was, does Kellogg offer online courses?
They do. Has anyone taken an online class? Or Kellogg?
I took, before I got into Kellogg, I took a data analytics course through work at Kellogg that was really good. But other than that, I haven't taken an online course since being at Kellogg, being a student, official student.
What I will say is, especially during like the COVID and like the COVID transition, there was a lot more online classes. There are online classes. However, we do not offer online like MBA degrees. There is a aspect of our education that requires you to be in person, but there are other programs if you want to be fully remote and online that can service that. And there's some quality MBA programs for that. But Kellogg in particular, you can take a couple classes online. Actually, one of our colleagues, Carmen, took her whole spring semester online so that she could be in Brazil doing Carnival, I think that's how they say it in Brazil. So you can finesse, but I wouldn't say that you can get a full degree with an online program.
We like finesse.
All right, you know what? Okay, my favorite things.
Thank you. Thank you, Keyaira. We have one more question. I think it may be like a different answer for multiple people. It's from Chris. He asked what steps or how long did it take for you to actually find your purpose and of what you wanted to do, and what advice would you give someone who is undecided on the purpose or path?
I can speak to that. So I took a class at Kellogg called PLI, which is Personal Leadership Insights or Professional Leadership Insights. And the class is like at other schools is called like the touchy-feely class, because you kind of dive into your past and what your values are because of your lived experiences and what your strengths are, to figure out what you think your path is and looking at how it aligns with those strengths and values. And I thought this class was incredible. Like there were times where like people cried in class, but when I talked earlier about being intentional about the type of person I want to be in work and personally, that class made me think about it. Like at some point want to have a family, and it made me think about the type of mother that I want to be one day. It made me think about the type of sister and daughter I want to be to my parents when they get older. And it made me also think about the type of leader that I want to be, in terms of like being an intentional leader that makes an inclusive workforce that everyone feels heard and valued. So we like made these really cool leadership statements that I had never heard of before. And we also kind of did these vision exercises of writing about your future life, which is more challenging than you think it would be when you go into detail of like, what would your day look like? And kind of made me even like think about all of the people that really invested into me personally and professionally, and how I wanted to make sure that I'm being intentional about leaving space to do the same for others. So I think that that class specifically, PLI, and it's also taught by a Black woman, Brenda Booth, which is really cool because there's not very many Black professors at Kellogg, let alone Black women professors. And so it was an incredible class that forced me to figure out, what do I want my purpose to be, and how do I figure out how to be intentional about it?
Yeah, I think I'd say business school is a great place to do some of that thinking, even before business school. Like, you all can start this now, right? I'd say don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to fail. Make intentional space and time in your life to like reflect on what you've done and whether you've liked it or disliked it and why. Like, what did you like doing as a kid? And can you somehow, work that into your career or even just a hobby that you pursue? As someone who I studied engineering, I did that for 3 years after school at 2 different companies. And then I switched to a different career. I went to consulting. So that means I had 2 different careers at 3 different companies in 5 years, which is not unheard of anymore. It's very common. But yeah, like every job has transferable skills. So what you are doing now, there are things you can use if you want to pursue something new. So never think something is off limits because you've never done it before. Yeah, there's always transferable skills. You just, I think, to some of our points before, got to figure out what your values are, what's important to you, and how to prioritize those things in your life.
Thank you, Kristen, and thank you, Karley. And I'm glad that you brought up switching careers, because that's often like, I think people question themselves if they can do that. And I know plenty of people who switch careers like every year. So thank you for that. I think we have one more question in the chat, and I think we're going to wrap it up. And what is that? I think I saw a question. I can't see the chat.
It came from Matt. Yeah.
Yeah. What it says, what challenges might a young entrepreneur face?
I'm happy to take that question. I'm gonna speak from personal experience. I'm still young. So there's a lot. Okay. I would say if I were not as deeply passionate for my business in this space, I didn't mention this, but the reason why I even do Spice and Sage and why I focus on psychedelics in Black and Brown communities is because I was actually healed from severe social anxiety, and I was showing signs of selective mutism. And as much as I like talking now, I was not the woman that you see in front of you. And so I deeply care about what I'm doing because I know firsthand experience how psychedelics can heal and can change lives and can allow people to push beyond the darkness to see the light. So I say that first because entrepreneurship has humbled me. It has, stretched my skill sets, my confidence every week. One week is like, well, that was a good week. Pat myself on the back. The next week is like, dang, those results was not good. It's high and low. And so I think it challenges it can dysregulate you. My therapist is using this word, new keywords that I'm gonna use. It dysregulates you from like your core. I would also say, and then that may not be everybody's experience, but like if you're constantly getting feedback from a lot of people, if people are telling you no, people are challenging your idea, they don't get it. It really takes someone who has a hard exterior or someone who just believes in what they're doing. And I started saying why this matters to me because it's mission and value driven. So if I can encourage you, if you really want to put yourself in the strongest position, is to find something that you deeply care about, that you would enjoy doing for fun. There are times where I'm like, man, I've been working on this for 12 hours and I'm not kidding. And I'm having a blast. I'm enjoying myself. So I would encourage you, if you are looking for entrepreneurship, something that deeply is important to you, something that has value that can resonate with a lot of people, something that actually solves a real problem. Sometimes people just want to be an entrepreneur and they just want to like create something. But I think the best businesses, one, have identified a real problem that many customers are experiencing. They are able to not only identify a problem, but a solution that they've come up with that solves that problem. And then they think about how they can put that solution, AKA their business, in the market and be able to showcase product market fit. These are some of the words that we learn in entrepreneurship, which is essentially your offering is of value to that current industry. So there are many things that you can face. I think I mostly focus on the personal, but I think the others are clear, you know, financial challenges, you know, finding a co-founder if you want a co-founder, hiring a team. As you see, I'm out here recruiting y'all. So like, there's a lot of things that you experience. I think if you want to kind of get to the more like core aspect is how it impacts you and dysregulates you. And how you can kind of counteract that by doing something that you love, that you're passionate about, and is really solving a real problem.
Thank you, Keyaira.
All right. Thank you so much for all of you being so interactive today and asking questions and staying engaged with us. I really appreciate all of you. We were so excited about this and would love to stay connected with you all. So like Keyaira said, please reach out to us on LinkedIn or email, and we'll make sure you all have those because we're happy to answer any questions you may have after this as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And sorry guys, I've been driving, but on behalf of the entire True Start organization, this was amazing. I learned so much. Thank you so much for taking your time. I would love to just discuss how we continue to build from here. We do have a lot of talented students that could work on your project and beyond. So I'm just looking forward to continuing the conversation, but thank you guys. I appreciate it.
I'd love to see it, y'all.
All
right, y'all. Y'all be good.
Take
Y'all
care.
be well.
Okay.
I want to say maybe this is not the last time y'all will see us. You know, it sounds like there's opportunities for us to continue to build. So please do reach out. Please let us know if there's any other things that we would like to dive into. And this could just be the surface, y'all. Again, we can definitely tap into some more things if you like. So y'all be good. Y'all be safe.
We would. We're taking you up on that. Yes.
Okay. Ooh, you remember that time you said yes? I said it.
We
Let's
mean
do
it.
it.
We mean it.
Amen.
Thanks so much, ladies.
right,
We
y'all, be
really
good.
appreciate you. Take care.
You
Talk to you
too.
soon. Thank you, young people.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.